Okay, for the public content effort.
It is very. We hope that the industry will internalize the requirements in this act. We know that there is sufficient will from the government to back the implementation of this act. Therefore, we believe that having identified those things that need to be done, the law mandates all stakeholders to operate in accordance with this law. And these are things that have been done in other jurisdictions. It's not rocket science. Establishing a pipe mill, the investors are there. The investors are not saying, give me money to establish a pipe mill. They are just saying, guarantee that you have enough pipes to put in our mills. That's the study we are carrying out. Guarantee that after we spend money to put these mills, you won't turn around and start importing pipes from India and other countries. Guarantee that you would hold fast with your operators to use our products, and we will put the mill in place. What period does it take to put a pipe mill? 24 months to 30 months. So we've identified the types of pipe mills that we need. We've identified the traditional mills in the whole world. We have Nigerian investors that are interested in investing alongside the foreign investors. And what we are just working with is now implementation. So we're almost sure of that. We need to have facilities for marine vessel maintenance that will lead us to building ships. As we speak now, I'm sure you don't know that some boats are being built in Nigeria today.
What type of boats?
Crew boats, security boats. In Port Harcourt, there is a yard that actually manufactures boats from the keel, laying the keel right there in Port Harcourt, in the Intel's camp or the oil and gas free trade zone. They're making aluminum boats that are used by the industry. Today, that yard is the order book is full for the next 3 years. So what are we doing about that? We are asking this company and other interested shipbuilders to come to Nigeria and see the model of business that these guys are doing. Expand. The law requires that these vessels should be made in Nigeria. Not only the Nigerian Content Law, but the Cabotage Act. So we're trying to get them to build slightly bigger vessels. And there's an issue with ownership. For every vessel that the Nigerian leases from abroad or bear boat charters from abroad, all the money the Nigerian company is paid for that service. He only keeps about 5 to 10% of that money. 90% goes to the original owner abroad. So that's why when you hear that the Nigerian oil and gas industry actually spends $15 to $20 million every year, and we don't retain $2 million in Nigeria, it's because of things like that. So we are also telling our entrepreneurs, our companies who want to do business in Nigeria, don't just go and be an agent. Sit down and negotiate and come up with strategies that will enable you to own these facilities that you are using to do the work. And to support that gesture, the law, I think the National Assembly, in their wisdom, and we must give credit to these senators like Senator Lee Meba, Senator Honorable Tam Brisby, Honorable Basio too, a lot of them in the House and the Senate that worked on this act, for putting behind the words in the act a fund, 1% fund, not for using in any other thing but for capacity building. This fund is going to be leveraged, and that's why I had a meeting with all the bank executives in Lagos over the weekend. How do we apply this fund to your industry so that it will grow from a 1% fund to a big fund that we can now use to do these big things we want to do? And the mechanism is being worked on now. So it's a comprehensive package, and we are designing the roadmap which we will publicize so that everybody will see how we intend to go from 2010 to 2013. That is one of the first assignments the Honorable Minister gave the board at etc. She says she wants to see step-by-step linkages, how you want to achieve this, your aspiration, and then how you want to take the aspiration to the next level and all that. And it goes all the way to the local communities, to the national platform, and internationally. At every opportunity, I also address the issue of the fact that we are doing Nigerian content does not mean that we want to drive out foreign players. Far from it. We want to make sure that the multinationals and the foreign investors coming here invest in the way they do in other countries, even in other West African countries. You invest so that you can take away your benefits and leave sufficient benefits for the country that you are working in. For many years, that hasn't been the case. So now this act and the implementation strategy we are adopting will ensure that multinational companies will come here, they will do business here, they will take away their profits, but they will leave substantial benefits for the national economy. That way, if we're spending $20 million, billion dollars I should say, if we're spending $20 billion in Nigeria, we should be retaining at least $10 to $15 billion in Nigeria. But it's a gradual process.
Right. You sound as if you have covered quite some ground in just 3 months. 3 months is an unfair length of time to assess anybody or any organization. But you want to talk about what you have done so far in terms of achievement in the past 3 months, even if it's just take-off steps.
Well, it would be unfair for me to claim that we've done too much within the past 3 months. I have a head start. Talking about this team, we have a head start because we've been the team used actually to run the experiment within NNPC. What has happened is that being appointed as executive secretary of the board has given me the opportunity to look back at what we've done over the past 4 years. I know exactly what we've been doing because I was here at the very beginning of this experiment. So, whilst in the past one could say, well, we should have done this, we could have done this, but we don't have a law. Today, we have the support of the government. Mr. President was very clear in his signing of statements. The Honorable Minister in actually unveiling the act was very clear. Government means business with this Nigerian content. So we've got a team dedicated. What is our first major achievement? It might not sound like an achievement, but there was fear and trepidation in the minds of the IOCs and multinationals that this Nigerian content law that just passed like that, what's going to happen the next day? Heavens did not fall. We managed to transform from an NCD NNPC operation into a board operation operating under the law, facing compliance issues squarely without disrupting the operations of the oil and gas industry. That's a major achievement. We've managed to bring the industry together to work with us, to interpret the clauses of the law, to develop regulations that will now guide the day-to-day operations of this. So even though we haven't kind of published these regulations because they need to go through a process culminating in the minister's signature, the IOCs, because they had representation in the implementation committee, know exactly what these clauses mean, and that's what we are using on a day-to-day basis now. So we streamlined the implementation process. The key stakeholders understand it. We've engaged the Nigerian indigenous service providers, and today PETAN, which is the Petroleum Technology Association of Nigeria, the umbrella organization for most of the technology companies operating out of Port Harcourt and Lagos and Abuja, are in custody of the work we did, and they're looking at it. I talked about the OPTS team also participating. So we are designing the building blocks for our final takeoff as a board. And you're having this interview with me in Abuja today. If you had wanted this appointment a few weeks from now, it will be holding in Yenagoa. The government of Biafra State has already given us beautiful modern office facilities in Yenagoa, where we are already maintaining a presence, and we're going to move over to that place. We are closer from that point to the operations in the oil and gas industry. And that also is one of the key moves by government to demonstrate that government is seriously involved in this post-amnesty program. Because by showing that you're taking a very key aspect of industry operations down to the Niger Delta, you are actually saying, okay, the industry has come to the Delta. Leave the doors open for the industry to operate, get to the oil fields and do the oil and gas production. So these are small steps, but steps that will lead to very big things to come in the future.
Right.